Good evening. Tonight we're going to try Golden Road Brewing out of Los Angeles, Wolf Among the Weeds IPA. So this is actually a 16-ounce can, so that makes me feel a little bit better about the fact that this was a 4-pack that I had bought. But 8% alcohol by volume, which is actually above the IPA category. IPA should be between 5.5 and 7.5%. So that's interesting. Just based on alcohol, that might bump it into another category. Imperials are done at 7.5 to 10%. So this might be better classified as an imperial ale. Imperial IPA, excuse me, but we'll see how this turns out. Short and sweet, no commentary on the can, so we won't know what their intention was exactly. It's just called an IPA. But based on style guidelines, they're above alcohol content. Nonetheless, let's go ahead and take a whiff. Pretty classic American IPA. It's got a ton of piney hops to it. A little bit of sweetness, just a tinge. Almost like a floral smell, like neroli has, which is like an orange blossom oil. Anyway, pretty good actually. Good smell. So appearance-wise, unfortunately, all my glasses were in the dishwasher, so I have this really hard to see through Hulk glass. But it's a pretty beautiful golden color, very, very pale. Looks like it's pretty heavily carbonated. It did pour with a nice rocky head that looks like it's going to stick around for a while, but you don't really get to see it necessarily. There it is. All right, flavor. Wow. This is not at all what I was expecting. This is really interesting. I don't even know what to think about this. I'm trying to evaluate it based on style, and I'm not even certain what style it is, if it's an American IPA or an Imperial IPA. But yikes. It's just, interesting. It probably could be an Imperial, but nonetheless, this is so smooth and refreshing. The smell is totally a standard American IPA, what you would expect, but the flavor is just, it's mind-blowing. I can't even wrap my head around it. It's mostly a floral kind of jasmine almost sweetness to it, and then the aftertaste, you get that bitterness that you would expect from an American IPA. It's a really interesting combination. It's like having a florally pale ale, extra hopped pale ale. Maybe not even a pale ale. Gosh. The floral sweetness has me confused. A couple of drinks into it, the bitterness really starts to build up in the aftertaste, and I can definitely tell that it's an IPA. But up front, it's just light and refreshing. It's crisp and sweet. Um, this is a really interesting beer. Um, I think it's interesting that it's called Wolf Among the Weeds. It kind of suggests that it's a little bit of a sneaky creeper IPA, and I think that that's probably a pretty good description. It's very drinkable. It's very good. I think I'm confused as to how to categorize it correctly. Um, it's definitely hoppy. It's definitely bitter. It's definitely high alcohol content. Um, but that sweetness and lightness up front is very confusing. I mean, for all the times that I've had an IPA and tried not to make the face, this beer was just so enjoyable and pleasant to drink. It was surprising. So I think I would drink more IPA if it were like Wolf Among the Weeds. I appreciate the hops flavor, but when it's just sometimes it's just overdone, and that's the only thing that you get out of it. Here, this has an intense hop finish, but it has so much more to offer on the front end. That this is probably the most widely diverse use of beer flavor I've had in a beer, where you get the sweet and malty front end and some floral out of there, all the way to the extreme bitter Northern California hopping, even though it's a Southern California beer. Very, very surprising beer, and very drinkable. I think it's great. I would be curious to see what other people have to say about it. Is this something that you have tried? And if so, what were your thoughts, and where did you find it? This came out of Whole Foods today, so it's probably relatively widely distributed. Definitely worth drinking if you're an IPA drinker. If you're a kind of on the cusp closet IPA drinker, I would like to hear your opinion, because I think it's. I want to know if you were as surprised as I was. I don't know if I made a face at the beginning. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and have a great night.